Self-esteem versus ego? People have different viewpoint as per experience. What's your stand? What matters to you? Ego or self-respect? Worried about self-esteem and egoistic feelings getting in the way of a loving relationship? Know the opinions of others who may have been in similar situations and question yourself what matter most. Self-respect can be an extension of your ego or a priceless virtue. Ego is the feeling of supreme. It is an attitude of thinking ourselves superior to others. Ego leads us to argument, anger, and ultimately to pain and hurt. However, self-respect leads us to stability and peace. The associated feeling with self-respect is of confidence and self-assurance. While in ego the associated feeling is of insecurity and fear. Author, Georgina Rogers. Ego relies on external validation. You're happy because of your status or material things, people that like you, etc. Whilst self-respect is a chemical, you can have self-respect even with no external validation or things. Author, Srikant. Ego and self-respect, both will matters in both love and relationships. Especially in love or marriage life, sometimes we need to surrender our ego to keep the relationship healthy. But you can't surrender it every time. If you require to surrender your ego every time, then you need to explain the situation and try to rectify the issue. Coming to the self-respect, you should have self-respect in both love and general relationships. Otherwise it is very painful. But one can build their self-respect by their way of behavior, attitude and body language. Even if you have good in all the above things, it is better to away some time from that relationship and teach then what is your value is. And finally, in love and marriage relationship, everything depends on both the partners' mutual understanding. Every problem can be resolved by normal open discussions. Sometimes to understand the situation anyone can surrender their ego to start explaining the situation to resolve the problem. If both don't want to come down, then the issue will not be resolved anymore. Author, Surya Narayana. Ego is a term which make a way split it into two different directions and result will be I go and you go concept. This will divide many lives into such drastic conditions that every day in life becomes hurtful. In case of family, ego should be silent as some adjustment is must in life which makes life beautiful and fruitful. Self-respect is must feel that will drive life. Mutually it has to be discussed in life to maintain self-respect. Some body hurts because of some words or behavior should be questioned but in polite way. There will be a tuning between in any couple that continues the life day by day. What are the conditions suitable for the subject to be discussed is important to discuss about self-respect. About individual earning, it may looks like freedom initially, but gradually becomes loneliness whether it is a case of women or men. Family is the pillar and border forces that gives a cause and growth of life. Continuing family is preferable than loneliness. Author, Pramod Dabolkar. Self-respect and ego are two different feelings we face throughout the life and which are very important factors of our life. But one should know the intensity of these two things. Because if we cross the boundary line of these feelings then we come across with many disturbances. Especially ego is the most important factor of such situation. Good to know that you are well-educated independent woman and hence it is very much possible for you to keep balance between ego and self-respect. First understood the importance of these feelings and work accordingly. If you will understand the accurate presence of ego and self-respect then definitely you will not lose your husband. Similarly your self-respect will not allow you to follow him blindly. Author, Sudipto Ghosh. You need to balance between the two as neither can you leave him, whom you chose as life partner, nor you can be benign enough to tolerate any damn thing. In the case of today's educated and independent youth, sometimes a superiority complex takes its toll. And in case of married couple, this further gets complicated if both the sides remain arrogant. A little bit sympathetic understanding on both sides generally rescues the damaged relation. And overall, love has a great potential to heal up old wounds. Remember the classic film Abhiman by Hrishikesh Mukherjee? Self-esteem, ego, love and hate relationships are very subtly narrated here. Author, Naveen Ramamurthy, you know what our mythology says about the relationship of husband and wife. Dharmecha, Arthecha, Kamecha, Mokshecha aham evam nati sharami. What does it mean? It is the promise that is being mutually agreed into between the couple, reciting that we would be moving ahead from now as one. We would together equally share and tackle financial, religious, tempestuous, salvation and family responsibility obligations. Don, do you think the same has been symbolized by Shiva Parvati in his avatar as Ardhanarishwar? There is no room for self-respect and ego in the life of husband and wife. Why? Because they have considered themselves to be a single existence under the solicit of Agni Dev. Means. They indulge in the soul of each other. They merge to be a single life. Your gain means the gain of you both and your fall means his. Confused? Madam, once a girl marries she enters into a family life. What does it mean? You and your husband mutually creating your own world. In that case, I can daringly say you cannot be a leader and at the same time you cannot be a follower in your family life. Then what? You and your husband are at equilibrium. The task is to balance up the entire obligations. So what I suggest is, please consider the betterment for your family to be your first priority. Who is contributing more would never arise. Because, there is no two-party involvement. Just one party, the family. Do execute your hubby's words when it promises betterment of the family. And if not, please bluntly do not say no, sit together and make him understand. After all, he is your soul and you both have promised to pull the life cart together and it is your responsibility to take it to the glory heaven. Author, Shio Shankar Jha, matured couples would not face problems with regard to self-respect and ego as because they would evaluate each other's personality in right perspective. They would be wise enough in utterance and would try to diffuse the situation in case ugly situation develops. Actually, relationship demands sacrifice, trust and consistency of rational behavior. If you are co-servant with human psychology, you can patch up the differences and enjoy a healthy relationship. Author, Jenny, marriage is a bonding between two persons. The differences that crop up should be resolved amicably without hurting each other. The egos should be dissolved to patch up the problems. The I factor, more centric, more dominating, more superiority, more earning should not become the basis for parting ways in a marriage. Mutual understanding should be the utmost priority. Sacrifices, submissions, guidance, following, guarding are all part our family lives. But, self-respect and self-dignity are also important for an individual, one cannot lose these and follow blindly becoming slaves. The individuality of myself makes a difference. Make the other person to understand these and take advice from a counselor, who can help both of you to solve these and lead a comfortable and beautiful family lives together. Author, Anil Chauhan, ego is about establishing your importance or superiority, usually in one sense or another comparing yourself to other and wanting to prove yourself to be better. Self-respect is about maintaining your confidence and a boundary in light of situations where someone is treating you unfairly. Ego is about placing importance on image over compassion. Self-respect is about fighting fairly when you deprived of what you deserve. Ego is about being overly sensitive without tempering of the gravity of the situation. Self-respect is about composure and faith that does not shake at every little provocation. Ego is about imposition, manipulation and force. Self-respect is about flexibility, mutual freedom and compassion. Author, Prisha Gupta, self-respect is praising yourself for yourself, i.e. neither in inferiority complex nor in superiority complex. Ego is expecting others to praise you and that makes you feel right and confident about yourself. In self-respect you don't need others to praise you to raise your self-confidence. In ego, other person's opinion matters a lot for you. If they praise you, you'll feel confident, whereas if they don't you'll lose your self-confidence. While this is not the case in self-respect. For e.g. in self-respect you know you are good looking. But ego is when you expect others to say that you are good looking, and that praise builds your self-confidence. Author, Gayatri Sravya. The person who knows the difference between ego and self-respect is a wise person's smiley face. I will try summing up whatever I have understood with personal experiences. 1. I am good at programming. Self-respect. I am good at programming than Mr. XYZ. Ego. 2. The winning or losing does not have any impact on your self-respect. But it has it on your ego. 3. Ego depends on position, wealth, experience, etc. Self-respect depends on good qualities one possess. E.g., your boss is egoistic because he is superior to you. You have self-respect because you work with dedication. So what matter most, self-respect or ego? Answer yourself, not anyone.
The podcast you just heard was made using Anchor. Ever thought about making your own podcast? Anchor makes it really easy for anyone to get started. It's a one-stop shop for recording, hosting, and distributing podcasts. Best of all, it's 100% free. Sign up now at anchor.fm/new. That's anchor.fm/new to get started.